But one, you need a really good quarterback to win. You need a really, really good quarterback to win, a big game or two in the playoffs, and you need a great quarterback to win it all, right? That's one of the realities of the league. You're starting to see the separation between if you have a really bad quarterback, you're not going to be a good football team, regardless of how good your roster is, right? San Francisco is different, but they also, people are like, well, San Francisco doesn't need a great quarterback. No, but they don't have bad quarterbacks either. Like Brock Purdy's very, very competent. Jimmy Garoppolo's always been more competent than people think, right? So you can't have a bad quarterback and be a good football team. I have nothing against Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco or some of those other third-tier quarterbacks who have won the big game. You know, they'll do more than I'll ever do. Great achievement. They played well that year, but those days are over. You're not going to win a Super Bowl or even get all that close with a Daniel Jones, a Marcus Mariota, a Ryan Tannehill level quarterback. It's just not going to happen anymore. And two, because of this, the top and the bottom separate pretty drastically, but the middle also gets a little bit more murky. You'll see what I mean, right? It's pretty easy to see the teams that will struggle, and you don't have to look too far to see which the teams are going to be successful, and you also don't have to look far as to why. It's the quarterback play. Maybe coaching here and there, like for example Tampa Bay, and we'll talk about them, right? I don't hate their roster, and Baker's not my favorite quarterback. I don't think he's all that good, but he's certainly capable if the roster's good, and the roster's good, but I don't like the coach, but that's a different story, right? And as we look to do these divisional predictions, right, I do think that there's some divisions in some circumstances that need more nuance than this, but at the end of the day, I do think it's very easy to see who's going to be number one and who's going to be number 4 in the division, right? Who has the best quarterback? Who's got the worst quarterback? I'd be very hard-pressed to find a division that doesn't have the best quarterback winning and the worst quarterback losing the division. Right? You go back to, I think last year, like 7 of 8 divisions were ranked almost perfectly. Right? So now I'm thinking, let's see. It's going to be a really good quarterback draft next year. Which teams are going to be bad, right? There's going to be 3, 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round next year. Who the hell's going to take them? Right, so let's look right now at who the public in Vegas thinks that will finish, around last place. Like Cleveland, they're tied to Deshaun Watson for the next, 4 years? A lot of guaranteed money. They're probably not going to draft one high unless they are really, really bad and can move off Deshaun's contract, which I doubt they can, so that probably won't happen. Texans or Colts, well, they have their guy. Whether you like C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson, whether you're a believer or not, they're not going to turn around and draft another guy, especially the Colts with the potential of an Anthony Richardson. It's not going to happen. Patriots, but you would have to bank on Bill Belichick doing something kind of rash and out of his comfort zone, which is move off a young quarterback, especially while they're cheap, and then go get another young quarterback, restart the clock in an ever-improving division. Doesn't seem like a Bill Belichick move. I mean, is it possible? I'm absolutely putting that on the table. It doesn't seem like he's got a good relationship with Mac. It's possible, but it seems like he's a little bit too conservative for a splash rookie. Doesn't seem like it's his thing. What about Vegas? Could absolutely see Vegas doing that. Again, have decent money tied up into Jimmy G, but on the bright side, if you can move off that contract, you have a lot of stars around him, so you can keep paying those stars and then get a young quarterback in there. I could see that. Tampa, we think they're in the sweepstakes, but they have like a very, very legit roster. And again, I don't like Baker. I don't view Baker as a franchise quarterback, but do I think Baker is a top 25 quarterback? Absolutely. I think Baker is a very capable guy. Could he come in and have an 83 passer rating, 18 touchdowns, and 9 picks and be good enough? For sure. I mean, Washington, they can say Sam Howell and Ron Rivera. I think if they finish last, they'll probably draft someone. Arizona, I've talked about this a bunch, especially on the newsletter. It's like if it's week 10 and they're 1-9 and Kyler's thinking about coming back, you sit him, you tank, you move Kyler for a first and a B-plus starter, and you go draft the guy. And then you get to like Chicago or Green Bay. Don't kid yourself. By Thanksgiving, I think those franchises are in the same spot. By Thanksgiving, they're making a decision. If Justin Fields is 3-6 through 9 games this coming year, and he's 8-26 in his career, they're moving off. Sorry, folks, you got to win games. You can be talented. You got to win games. So now you're looking at who is going to draft these young guys. We have 4 guys for sure, probably, maybe a 5th that are going to go in the first round. So we're looking Vegas probably, Washington almost for sure in my eyes, Arizona and Chicago maybe, but I would say that's closer to like a 50-50 proposition, and then a long shot odds, New England and Green Bay, who are organizations that don't make splash moves like that often. So we're like at 3, maybe 4 teams. And we have 4, probably 5 guys that are going to go. So my point is, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a team that's worse than we think, or a team that's better than we think, that's going to shake up these sweepstakes a little bit. Like I said, a lot of people view Tampa in that sweepstakes area. Schedule's not too bad. Like it wouldn't surprise you if they win 7 games in their draft and somewhere around 9, 10, 11 don't have an opportunity for that top quarterback. They trade back, get pieces, live to fight another day, right? Like there's so many scenarios. Someone's going to be worse than you think. Someone's going to be better than you think. It's not as clear-cut as you might have it predetermined going into this upcoming draft as to who's going to be drafting some of these young quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's not like the oil-vinegar separation and watching, where it's very clear-cut. And the NFL never is. There's so many different pieces that play into it. The schedule difficulty is one of them. And like you talked about with Tampa, the schedule is not all that tough, right? So we did that prediction last week. We had them at second in the division, I think 9-8, 8-9.
No, I think we had them. I think we had. Well, we had New Orleans, then Atlanta, and then we had Tampa in third. I think at what?
Oh, that's
7 wins, maybe.
Yes, 7-10. 7-10 is what we had them at.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. And now, granted, if they wanted to go draft like a Michael Penix, or if they like Bo Nix, or maybe Quinn Ewers has a good year, right? Those are some of the guys that are thrown around. Cause it's like Drake May, Caleb Williams, and that second tier is like Penix, Ewers, and Bo Nix if they end up having good seasons.
Yeah, and I think the one big thing that you have to look at is, do they see this guy, and can you see this guy and project their current starter as their franchise guy and who they want to keep around in the building? I don't think that's a Baker Mayfield. No, and then you look over at Vegas, I don't think that's a Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like, they're great Jimmy G is a good quarterback. He's a good bridge quarterback, good backup. He'll do what you need him to do. But that's not the kind of guy that you want to hang your hat on. So they're going to be looking to draft that franchise guy probably in the next year or two. So I would say, Vegas would be in the sweepstakes, but that's just another little hint that you have to.
I'll tell you what, here's an interesting proposition, though, when you're looking at NFC versus AFC. If you have a bad NFC team, look for them to just say, screw it, we'll tank.
Yeah.
Because you could draft a guy, and within a year, he could be the second or third best quarterback in the NFC. We got Jalen Hurts, Kirk, Dak. Like,
who else?
There's not a ton of top-end talent at the quarterback position. Stafford, if he's healthy, but he's aging, he'll probably be out of the league in 3 years, right? Kyler, but he's hurt. We have no idea if he's going to stay in Arizona. We don't know the situation there. He's also hurt.
We were just looking at a list the other day, the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and the first NFC quarterback is Jalen Hurts on that list, and he's at number 6.
Right, and a lot of people have Dak at like 8 or 9, which is insane to me. He's more like 12 or 13.
Yes.
So you have one, maybe 2 guys from the NFC in your top 10 top 10 league quarterbacks, right? So if you're in the AFC and you're a bad team, there's an argument, hey, let's not tank and restart the clock because we can't go ahead and punt the next 2 years with a young quarterback in this fantastic conference.
Yeah.
In the NFC, you can. You can be like, we can let him develop a little bit. Like, he'll be ready in 3 years. And in that, while he's developing, he'll still be a top 5 talent in the NFC. Yeah. You can make an argument for that. AFC, you can't. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch unfold.